Hey y'all, so I always talk about different things on my social media platform. One being how I do really enjoy my solo life, solo living, and being a single woman. And my home girl, we have been knowing each other. Baby, Lisa knows where all the bodies are buried. Lisa
Oh,
knows the backstory. Lisa knows me before the Jaquetta Williams on television. Okay, we graduated from the same high school, and
VHS.
so yeah,
Wait,
so,
wait, wait, wait. Tell them we went to junior prom together.
yes,
Remember, we
yes, we
always
did.
stayed at junior
We
prom
went to
together.
junior prom. Baby, we went on. We both went out for Miss Yearbook. We did a lot of
We
stuff
did
together.
homecoming. Yeah, my
Homecoming.
homecoming sister.
Yes, Lord.
Yes.
So, and to this day, I still remember you walking down that doing a fashion show. Lisa has, and the funny thing is, you have always been the person you are now.
I
Right now,
am.
you
Isn't that
have
crazy?
always just been that grand, amazing person. I had to come into my own, but
That's
you
interesting.
you were always firmly planted. So
Yes.
after the long intro I just gave y'all, okay, so we were talking about living single, and so Lisa dropped down in the comments and had a comment, and I was like, we should talk about it. So here we are talking about it. Lisa, tell me why you like being solo, single.
Oh, child, because you see this piece over here. You can feel it through the camera, can't you? It's so beautiful and peaceful, but
Mhm.
it also is. It's just a fate. It's just a. For me, I am 53. I'll be 54 in November, and it is just a safe landing place for me. Singleness became a very safe landing place for me, and I don't have anything that I long for,
Mhm.
and I don't have anything that I'm deficient in,
Mhm.
and I have access to everything that contributes to this piece. So like it's been good for me. It's been good.
And the more I have lived, because of course, much like you, I'm sure you've had a number of relationships, some amazing, some that failed. And
Amazing. I had no amazing.
oh,
Zero.
oh, 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 okay, okay.
Zero.
Zero amazing.
Zero amazing.
Okay, okay,
That's a story in and of itself. But it's more. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about
okay.
why. Yeah.
Well, no, let's stay right there, because the one thing I will say, I have had some amazing relationships for a period of time, and for whatever reason, they did not end up, going running the distance, but they were, for the period in which they were great. They were great. So talk to me about, you're saying you've had zero amazing. So
Zero,
tell
yeah,
me.
no. Like and it's so interesting that when you asked me about having this conversation, I started like just rolling through my mental Rolodex of life
Mhm.
and thinking about just my life and my tenure. I never really had a boyfriend, like a long-term boyfriend ever. And the guys that I did allow to date me, because I'm not gonna say I dated them, but I allowed them to date me, just were there because it was a need that they had. It wasn't really
Mm,
there for me. So it's been interesting that I came and while I was brushing my teeth this morning, I was like, oh, you know what? The analogy that I came up with was like the video game Pac-Man. Not to us being also 90s, raising us in the 90s, right? The Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, that was us. We went to the
yeah.
arcades. But I thought about Pac-Man, and do you remember in Pac-Man how how initially you got these little whatever they were chasing you,
Uh-huh.
right? So you're chasing, you
Uh-huh.
running, 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 running. But when you bit that power,
Uh-huh.
the game changed, right? And
Uh-huh.
then now
Yes,
you
it
chasing
did.
them. So it was
Yes.
interesting to me that that was kind of the story of my life is, people would pursue because they would, I didn't realize it at the time that I was the value that I had because, growing up, I was, you know, the only girl. I had two
Yes.
brothers. My sister didn't come
Yes.
along till later. I was a tomboy. I was just
Yes.
a dolled up tomboy. Like fashion
Yes.
was my passion, but I was still a tomboy. I roll with the best of them and all the
Yes.
things. And I think that it kind of made me lose my identity as a woman being to be pursued, right? That was
Mm.
just my own development, my own way of viewing things because the boys, they rough you up. They rough you up. They make you feel like you just a big old head, and you got you. I was the president of the itty bitty titty committee. Remember that in
Yes, I
high school?
remember. I remember. I remember.
I was the
I was
president of the
not, but I remember.
correct.
I
Remember that?
yeah.
So the jeering and all the things. And so my
Uh-huh.
response was to mask the trauma. And so
Uh-huh.
when I masked that trauma, I masked it with fashion. I masked it with being like one of the cool kids, with
Yes.
being that person. And it was the perfect mask for me for the longest time. But what didn't happen was nobody came to like unveil that mask. So
Hmm.
interesting enough, Jaquetta, and I don't know if you even know this, but I don't know if you remember David Van Dyke. You remember David Van Dyke that
I
used to
remember
go?
that
The
name.
name. But he
Yes.
ended up leaving Butler and he went to West Side like his senior year, but he still had privileges at Butler for his senior because he had paid his dues at Butler. He was the only person to ask me to prom.
Oh
Senior year prom.
wow.
When you were prom queen, remember? Like you were prom queen, we were there on the dance
Yeah,
floor there.
yeah.
He was the only
Yeah.
person to ask me. And interesting enough, when him and I showed up at the prom together, everybody was like, wait. Like, how'd you end up at the prom with David? I was like, he's the only one that asked me. And every guy said, I thought you had a date. We all thought
Yeah.
you definitely had somebody, or somebody asked you. I'm like, why would you just assume that? Like, no,
Because
like no.
but let's be clear, Lisa, because you were are an attractive girl, tall, and even though yes, you may have been a part of the itty bitty titty committee, you still looked very model esque. You could
Yeah,
walk
I didn't
into
get
a
that.
room, you owned rooms
Yeah.
and spaces.
Yeah. And that's
Um,
interesting now to hear that because when I was in that period of my life, I definitely didn't see that. But it wasn't necessary for me to because I was still solid enough that I felt like I belonged and I never felt like I was inadequate or that I needed something or I needed
right.
attention. So it's interesting as a matter of fact when when I went back for our 10-year class reunion, the onslaught of like white kids, black kids, everybody, the guys that were like, we all wanted to date you. And I'm like,
Hmm.
nobody
Said
ever approached
anything.
me. When I say
Hmm.
never, Jaquetta, like I don't know if it was my brothers. That could be a little small part
It
of it.
could have been.
It
Uh-huh.
could have been. It could have played a
It could
little
have been.
bit, or it could have been
Yeah.
that people really just thought that I was already taken or already, because I do have a lot of male friends, and my
Yeah.
male friends were very protective of me, and they kind of kept me in a safe place. So you didn't
Right.
really get a lot of access to me either, unless you kind
Right.
of, met the criteria too. But yeah, like no, I was not that girl. So I found a peace with that early on. I think I found peace with
Hmm.
that probably in high school. That I'm like, I don't have to like. I can have the same good time that the girls at, and then I don't have anything that I owe these guys. Like I ain't gotta sleep
Right.
with you. I ain't gotta be going. And then interesting enough, those relationships lasted forever. I have lifetime friendships that were because I was friends and never dated, guys like early on. And so yeah, it's been an
But were you not
interesting
in love with your daughter's dad?
zero. Absolutely not. Under no circumstances, for the record. My
Oh,
God today, my God today.
okay. Okay.
So listen, and to be perfectly to be perfectly honest with you, like it took some years. It took me probably getting to my Jesus year. I said 33. I had a revelation about my
Hmm.
life and my sexual behavior.
Okay.
And at that time, it was revealed to me in a dream, my relationship with God, honestly, that I had my relationship with sex was a dutiful relationship. It was not that we didn't have sex ed where we were taught love, of course. No, look, sex was just like, it was an act. And for me,
Hmm.
because I was introduced to sex earlier than I should have been
Hmm.
by a family friend, too, male and female.
Oh.
I had a very different relationship with sex. And so sex
Oh.
became to me like when you're friends or when you like somebody or when you're close to them, this is what you do in exchange for them liking you. So it took a lot of
Oh.
therapy and some time for me to kind of met through how that rearranged my
Right.
psyche. And
Yeah.
so one of the easiest things was just to refrain from having sex. That way you don't have to get involved. But then when I did, it would be for reasons other than because I was in love or because it was the due course of relationship. It's been very interesting. So like my daughter's father, we met because you remember my girlfriend Gwen, her wouldn't let her
Hmm.
go on a date with Tony's friend. Let me try to turn this thing off. She wouldn't let her go on a date with his friend unless it was a group date. So of
Hmm.
course I fell alone in group date. So her
Hmm.
dad and I ended up being the two add-ons to their date. And
Hmm.
the two of them end up hating each other, and then him and I ended up hanging out. And
Hmm.
so I think that I don't know if he liked me. I don't really think so. And I don't think I really liked him either, but it was just, it was cool. Like he was cool, I was cool. He went to a
So are
different
you
school.
telling me you never been in love with anybody before? Have you ever been in
No.
love?
That's an interesting question. I don't think I have the answer to that yet. I think what being in love with me for me has equated to the person that has been around, that has been a mainstay in my life. But him and I realized, I'm like, we never dated. Like, dude, we never, like, I just
Yeah.
saw him on Saturday. He came over and like he's been this person that's been around for at least 25 years. That is
Yes.
when I'm like, yeah, that's my person. But we
Uh-huh.
never dated. We never, to this day, we never dated. Like, we had sex and we've
Uh-huh.
done some things, we have people know us to be like really close, but we never
Close.
dated. Yeah, we never dated.
Would you
And
want to date him?
I think that we attempted to about 2 years ago, or at least I did, and we kind of had a conversation, and it went black. So for me, I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Don't circle the block. Don't circle the block looking for me because I won't be here. But he's
Okay.
still my folks. Like he's still like something. We just had a conversation on Saturday. He came by to see my mom while she was here, and he was, like, Lisa, if I die, this is what I want. Like I'm the person in his life that's that person. But
Okay.
being in love, I don't think I've had the experience of
Oh
like
wow.
loving someone and being in relationship with someone that I saw forever with. Never. Never.
Huh. Is that
Yeah.
because you feel like you haven't encountered him or
That may be. That may be. And then I just think that for me, let me see how I can word this. It's not a necessary thing. How some people dream of being married, dream of a wedding, dream of, I
right,
never wanted kids, never wanted to be married. Never.
right.
My parents had a
Same.
volatile relationship growing up. So I saw that was my first line in viewing relationships. But then I saw other relationships, and then I'm looking now, I'm like, ugh, I got my girlfriends that were married for 20 years,
Yeah.
two of them respectively, right? That are no
Yeah.
longer married now. I was like, I think I won. Like
Yeah.
being the one, because I don't know how I would feel spending 20 years of my life married to someone and then it's
Right.
over.
Right.
So I'm like, I think I won being single for the 20 years. And now I have the still open and capable of marrying and being with. But truth be told, November 1st will be hallelujah menopause, like official menopause. So I'm like, like the only other reason to get married is childbearing or making it, like the family would be a blended family if I was to marry someone. Now it's just, I'm like, I think I made it to that almost like that finish line or that barometer in life where life is good. And if I do, it would be a major upgrade. You would have to really upgrade my life for me
Hmm.
to want to be married. So yeah,
Well, what about,
no,
because my thing is
great.
I've never wanted to be married, nor did I
Really?
want to have children. No, I didn't want to be married, and I didn't
Wow.
want to have children. No. Mm-mm. I mean, like, of course, let me put a caveat to it. I can
Hmm.
I can say when I was younger in high school, I never was the girl who said I wanted to be married and all that. But you have that idealistic thing in your mind.
No, I
But
want everybody else to be married.
as I aged, went to college, graduated, and really got into my career, I did not see marriage for me, but I did see what
Wow.
I ultimately ended up doing, and I loved it. But I will say throughout the journey, I did have some amazing relationships. I did know what deep love was. I also knew and figured out that sometimes things aren't, you can be with somebody for 20 years, but that doesn't mean that's forever. That just
Mm,
means that's for this period, for this growth,
understood.
for this lesson, for this experience. And then once God says that's over, then
Yeah.
start something new. And that may
Right.
mean solo or
Yeah.
someone else.
Yeah.
So, would you like to at least know or experience love in its truest with
Um,
somebody, not
I
aside from
think.
marriage, just relationship,
Oh, I
connection?
do have that. Like I have amazing relationships with people that I have unconditional love for, and
Okay.
they have that and they reciprocate that. So I think that I do have that experience. Not that I have a sexual I don't have is the only thing that's missing from that is a sexual relationship with these individuals. Like one of my guy friends, Damian Hall, is probably as close to being my husband as
Mm-hmm.
anybody would ever be. Damien and I have
Uh-huh.
never. been interested in dating. We met, we immediately became friends, and that was almost 30 years ago now. Like, and that was like my, he'll tell anybody, like, this is my best friend in the world. She know everything about me. Like, this is my, so I think that I have that experience. When I go out, he takes care to check. I don't have to worry about anything. If I'm, if somebody coming at me wrong, baby, you don't want to go to war with him because he gonna come and see you about me. Like all the things. I think the only thing that is missing is that commitment to being married and having sex. But I don't have the desire for that, especially not with him or anybody in that circle. But I think I've experienced it.
Okay.
I think that I have the caveat of what unconditional forever love is without having
Okay.
been married. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I've had that too. So do you feel like more women are like you, like me, when it comes to not necessarily looking for, desiring being in relationship, whether that be marriage or partnership or whatever?
I think what I have come to realize, and I've been touching women for almost 40 years because I
Yes.
do hair for a living, right?
Yes.
So I've had access to souls, like not just to your hair. It's something that's a real different relationship when you have
Mm,
someone to touch you in that way, right? And I've been
mm-hmm.
licensed to touch people for a very long time. And in my touching, there's always an exchange, right? And so what I've
Mm-hmm.
learned that there's some women that have to have relationship to feel whole. They have to
Mm-hmm.
be in some type of male engagement in order for them to feel woman or feel feminine or feel, ownness of their womanhood. And then there
Yes.
are others who long for it, but just make excuses of why it'll never happen and kind of justify, why it's okay. And then you have
Mm-hmm.
those of us that are like genuinely okay. Like I have my girlfriends all the time. Like, girl, I want to introduce you to this guy. I'm like, absolutely, sure, I'll meet him. And then I'll meet him. And when I commented on the post and your post, and I said, men don't ask the cost of things they can't afford.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's the mental affording. Sometimes it's the
Mm-hmm.
spiritual can't afford you. Sometimes it's the psychological that can't afford you. Sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
the financial that can't afford you. You know what I'm saying? So they'll
Mm-hmm.
find themselves in one of those places and they just kind of retreat, right? I respect
Mm-hmm.
it. I ain't even mad about it because I think that part of my mask too, when I just kind of found myself in this place, I masked myself with success. So I became
Mm.
enormously successful in my own right in whatever it was I wanted to do. That was, if I was going to do it, I was going to do it at 1,000%, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so that became the perfect mask for me to not have to do anything else. But one day I took that mask off, and when that mask came off, I saw myself, like the real me, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, people don't want to deal with that level of success because when you mask yourself with success, you go 1,000%. When you meet
Mm-hmm.
people, they think, oh, this is too much for me. Oftentimes,
Mm-hmm.
guys meet me and they immediately say, I'm bougie, I'm high maintenance, I'm a little bit, my demands are really high, and could not be more wrong. Like, I love when people get to know me and they say, yo, like, I had you all wrong. I'm like, it's been
Mm-hmm.
the story of my life. People have always perceived me to be something that I'm not. I'm the country girl with, look, ain't got a shoe on, walking outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, walking with my shoe, like, in the dirt. Also, I'm about to cook you a meal. I may be able to articulate and have a conversation with you that is on an intellectual level that you like, whoa, I wasn't expecting you to be smart and
Mm-hmm.
pretty. And then like, don't let me pop out and like get dressed because it's gonna be a show. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's it's interesting how the perception has always been wrong. And I'm like, I don't think it's my job to adjust my approach or adjust my delivery or adjust my introduction to you to make you palatable, make me palatable
Mm-hmm.
for you. And so I think I in my masking and in my success and in my draw in my overly successful life, I think I outsourced myself. Like I kind of pushed myself outside of the realm of the average guy. Like the average guy who meets me, a guy came by one day. I was in my yard, girl, dirty, sweaty, stinking, and it was he worked at Georgia Power, And he sat out there and had this whole conversation with me. And I'm like, sir, what do you want? Like, what you need, friend? Like, we talking. And he came to turn somebody's power off. And I'm like, I'm on the board of my homeowners association. So I'm like, what's going on? And he kind of told me. But he stayed and he just had this whole conversation. He sold me on everything, how much money he had, that he was about to retire, this how much he had in his 401k, that he owned a house. And I was like, sir, none of those things appeal to me.
Mhm.
There's nothing about anything that you said that would make me say, ooh, I want to date him. And he
Mhm.
was like, huh? Well, I mean, and then he was like, I was like, I like to travel. And he was like, oh, we could travel. Because all his whole thing was, I just want to sit down and go come home every day and see my grandkids. And I was like, sir, ain't nothing about that appealing to my life.
Mhm.
Like, I'm about to be on a flight to God knows where, doing God knows what in a bikini, turned up, meeting people, having cocktails, enjoying my life. And he was like, well, yeah, you can book a trip. We'll go. I was like, no, I'm not booking a trip for no man. I was like, and
Mhm.
he couldn't figure out how to force himself to fit into what he just showed up. I'm like, I've lived here for 30 years. I bought this place in 1996. I'm still here. I love it. I raised a beautiful child. I've done all the things. And so he, was just talking. I was like, I realized then that the average Joe, he felt, I mean, he did. I mean, he talked to me for about 2 hours trying to sell me on that I was like, I think you're a great guy. And I think that you're a great catch. It's just not a fit for me. And I
Mhm.
don't think that makes you bad. I'm not here to say, well, you were a horrible person or he. No, I think you're an amazing person for somebody to say. But I did this to myself, that I
Mhm.
became that girl that was out of reach, and
Mhm.
so I'm
So what
okay
would your
with it.
idea? What would your ideal man look like if you had to build one?
I think he's probably going to be white. I'm.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
I'm just,
Mhm.
I think I've
Mhm.
come to that revelation that that's the space and the level of don't careness, and that I not to say that I love black men. I love my brother. I'm my
Mhm.
brother's keepers. I love black men, and I'm not even gonna say white, like European white, but I'm saying non-black in the sense that he may be from the Amalfi Coast or he may be Italian or something like that.
Mhm.
But somebody that's in good shape, that has some things about themselves and that is still got the same fire for life that I do. They want to
Mhm.
travel, they want to do things that are spontaneous, that aren't a lot of men our age are very much ready to settle and they just ready to sit
Mhm.
down and chill out in life.
Mhm.
And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not in chill mode. Like, I'm not in a space that I want to just spend my life cooking and laying around and sipping wine all day. No, let's do that on another part of the planet or
Mhm.
some other things. So yeah.
Mhm.
But he would be somebody that definitely is financially secure, not necessarily wealthy or rich, but that I don't have to get a coupon or find a discount for us to go. Real talk. I'm serious because I've been there. I've been there that I had to take the frontier flights, which I didn't have a problem with. Don't get me wrong. You know that we
Oh Lord Jesus. Oh God.
but I'm
Go ahead,
serious.
Lisa.
I'm serious.
I
Okay.
believe you. I believe you for
That
sure.
I don't mind saying I'm okay in
Oh
Delta
God.
Comfort for this flight. It
Yeah.
don't have to be first class. But
Right.
I'm not willfully sitting at the back of the plane because we can't afford it. It might be
Right.
because we just had to jump on this flight. It was the last seat here because we
Right.
left at
And
the
there are
last
no
minute.
other options, but not
Correct,
because,
correct, correct,
right,
correct,
right.
correct, correct.
And moreover,
So
because we are in our 50s now, I am not discounting anything. I want
correct.
what I want. I've lived long enough to
Don't come
deserve
at
what I want, and this
that
is what
part.
I want.
And don't come telling me
Hard
how much
stop.
something costs. I didn't ask you that. Unless
No.
I ask you how much it costs, don't
Yeah.
tell me how much it costs. Because I ain't
Yeah.
show up here if I didn't already know I could afford this, right?
40.
Unless I ask you.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Absolutely.
so the men that are in that phase of their life where they, still in the struggle and
Oh
you on your
God.
second win because she took
Right.
everything you had and you rebuilding your life. Miss,
Right.
I'm not that girl. I
Right.
can I can be your friend and I can nurture that, but I don't need to be a counterpart to
Yeah, I
you.
can't even do
Yeah.
that. I don't even do that. I'm not doing that. I'm so sorry.
You say you ain't gonna do it.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
doing
good.
it.
Not, I mean,
No, I'm
as
so
your
sorry.
friend, but not as your
I
counterpart.
can't
Like,
do it
no,
as your friend. I'm
I can
so
do. Yeah,
sorry. No, no, not no man. Not in our
I,
50s.
I ain't
No, I'm
mad
so
at you.
sorry. I'm so
I'm not
sorry.
mad.
Here's the thing. This is why I feel this way, and it's not because I'm not sensitive, but I also realize life is moving at a pace that sometimes my mind can even adjust to.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
because wins and losses, and I have lost so much, so
Yeah.
many people around me at such
Mhm.
rapid rates.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't have time. I literally feel like I don't have time. So it's not because
Understood.
I'm being mean. I'm not.
Yeah.
It is just I'm being honest. Like I
Yeah.
just before we started this interview, I had a friend of mine who sent me a link that D'Angelo has passed away.
I saw it, girl. You
And
know,
I'm
I'm
like, I
oh
and I can't even like right now I can't even go to the emotional place with that.
correct.
I cannot
Same.
I can't do it. So that's why I feel the way that I do. You know, can
Understood.
I pray for you from afar? I absolutely can, but
But taking it
I
on,
can't
I
be in.
understand. Yeah.
I will not.
I
I will
understand. I
not.
completely understand. And
I
I
will
have
not.
a close girlfriend of mine who is in this space in her life, and I'm like, baby, we cannot be friends. And I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and I was like, I don't have any people in my life that I fell out with, like women. I'm like, I don't have the time or the space to be in to have bad energy in the
Yeah.
world for myself.
Yeah.
If there's bad energy, I don't know nothing about it.
Me either.
I would never know, would never care, and
Right.
and if you encountered me, I would love you so much that you wouldn't even be able to express your hatred for me. If there's somebody that exists that feels that way, and
Mm-hmm.
so, I was telling her, I was like, but you have to own your decisions, how
Mm-hmm.
you got to where you are. Now there are things that happen to us. Like I had a setback in my life in '03 when I was in a really bad car accident and life completely flipped upside down and it was
Mm-hmm.
all the things, right? But I feel like just like you and your breast cancer, God sends those things to you for then you to evaluate who you are going to be on the other side of the storm.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
The
Lord.
storm does not change who you are. It exposes you and it reveals and it refines you if you allow it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
on the other side of the storm, the one thing I give advice that I give to young people, and they always say, "Well, Miss Lisa, like, what advice would you give?" And I'm like, in trouble season, I mean, excuse me, in favorable season, prepare for trouble season, and
Mm-hmm.
that's with everything.
Mm-hmm.
In If it's the groceries, if it's favorable season, stock up, make sure you have, because in
Mm-hmm.
trouble season's gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to feel like trouble season came and I squandered up my favorable season. So now I
Mm-hmm.
expect you to come help me. I
Mm-hmm.
expect you to come save me. I expect you to come deliver me. I expect you to come make good. Like I this harvest moon that just happened last week, and it's funny because my mom was here. And in the past couple of years, we've been having these experiences, like very like almost like dark periods emotionally, like draining. Death happens a lot during this time of year, and I was like, but if you think about it, everything dies off during harvest season, or it
Mm-hmm.
appears to die off. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just preparing for favorable season. This is
Mm-hmm.
when the soil starts to, the leaves and the decomposition of them are preparing the soil for the spring.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's a dark and dead,
It's
but so when you
cyclical. It's cyclical.
correct,
There is no time that you're going to escape happiness nor sadness,
correct,
and
correct,
neither one of them will last for forever. Life
that
is just going to do this
exactly,
thing,
yeah,
and you're riding it the
yeah,
whole time until
yeah,
it stops.
exactly,
That's the way I
exactly,
see it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And when you can figure that out and before you get to a trouble season and you weren't prepared for, like if you can take that advice, if you can just listen to the people who come before you. I've had my seasons, right? And I'm sure seasons are still going to come, but what I'm doing in this favorable season is preparing for whatever can happen,
Yeah.
spiritually, financially, emotionally, physically. I'm out here running on the treadmill. I'm like, who knows? Tomorrow, this whole thing could change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's what you've done to prepare for it that's going to really make a decision whether how long you last in trouble season. And so,
Mm-hmm.
understanding that, I feel like we have to really just continue to pour, continue to love on, but continue to do what you say. You said, I don't have time because you are at a space in your life where you like, look, it's different for me right now. And I don't have
Yeah.
the space and energy to spend helping somebody who hasn't done the work prior to meeting me. And now you
Mm-hmm.
want me to bring you where I am because you
Mm-hmm.
didn't do the work,
Mm-hmm.
it's not fair to me. And it's not fair to people who really need me
Mm-mm.
in this season. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes I believe too, even in my own things that were difficult for me, like you mentioned, and things that were difficult for you, some of it is God's way of saying, he's not going to allow outside people to help you. It is a 1-to-1 ratio that he is expecting. And that taught me, like, I
Wow.
cannot, I can't look outside for help. I mean, I do know
Mm,
God sent people to
correct.
remind me I got you,
Right.
but the undergirding and the person who's really ain't got nothing to do with around me, it's
Mm-hmm.
the 1-to-1.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that some people will get it
Mm-hmm.
and learn the lesson. And some people, which I've found, consistently are looking elsewhere for the
Mm-hmm.
help or the
Mm-hmm.
saving when God is like, I'm asking you to save yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody's coming to get you. I'm
Correct.
already here.
Been
So,
here. Yeah.
been here the
And it's
whole
interesting.
time.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that because I also feel like, my advice, I was talking to my mom. It's interesting because my mom and I have had a good relationship.
Hmm.
I have a great relationship with my daughter. I never
Yes.
knew that the relationship that I had with my daughter was a potential for relationships with were mother-daughter relationships, right?
Hmm.
And so when my mom got sick, my mom developed breast cancer right after COVID. And so and I told my siblings, I'm like, look, I took care of daddy. When it's time for mama to be taken care of, somebody else gonna have to step up and do it because it was a lot for me to
Hmm.
care for my dad the way that I did. And
Hmm.
needless to say, when my mom was, when it happened, it was me. I was
Hmm.
like, okay, clearly this is my calling to be in
Yep.
this space. But I will make the call to everybody, like, hey, this is what's going on. I need help. And because I don't have a person that I can call that's gonna say, well, when I needed you, you weren't there. It ain't a person I can pick up the phone and call that won't come through for me, right? So that became my quest. And she ended up getting the best care. And literally, she probably wouldn't be alive today if it had not been for me having to take on that position and take care of her, making medical decisions and doing some things for her. Well, the relationship was forced because I hadn't lived with my mother since I was 20 years old when I moved out. I moved out of my parents' house at 20 years old when I had a 6-month old daughter. Well, she's 6 or 3 months. She might have been 3 or 6. I can't remember. But I left home when I moved out of my parents' house. And I've never been back. I've never spent that amount of time with my mother, right? And so I
Hmm.
remember her proton radiation therapist, doctor, saying, are y'all going to be okay? And I'm like, why you ask that? Because she had to come and stay with me for 8 weeks.
Hmm.
And so this lady was like, y'all gonna be all right? And I was like, why would you ask that? Like, why wouldn't, like, I'm thinking, like, is there some indication, like, some underlying something we had? And, like, there's some, and I was like, no, like, I don't think that we wouldn't be. And she was like, I just know that I wouldn't be able to spend 8 weeks with my mother living with me. And I was like, wow. And I was like, interesting. I was like, no, I don't think that we'll have a problem. Which it led me, though, to say, like, God was making my mother have to come here to heal that
Hmm.
relationship. Baby.
Hmm.
When I say, and I had said this prior to my mother coming here, that the mother daughter relationship doesn't heal until the mother is healed. We always think
And
that it's the
sometimes
daughter.
that never happens. But
Correct.
for a
Oh,
lot
I'm
of
living
people, that
proof.
never, ever
Most people, it
happens.
never
Uh-huh.
happens.
It doesn't happen.
So, in the midst of that, I didn't realize the healing that my mother needed, right?
Hmm.
So, initially when she came, I always withheld things from her that I felt like would be displeasing to her. So, like, she would never know. Baby, one day I woke up and I was like, you're going to get whatever it is. I'm not living in an untruth or in my facade of my perfect life or present. I don't care. And it started this rumble. My daughter be like, oh God, you and Granny get on my nerve. And I was like, but it was necessary because now the love and the respect and the regard and the beautiful mother-daughter relationship has been delivered. And I
Hmm.
tell her, I said, I look at
You're
the
very
relationship that
fortunate.
you had. Yeah. But I look at the relationship, and I think a part of that trigger was knowing the relationship that she had with my father. My father was my main man. Like he was
Hmm.
everything that, he was a broken man, of course, and all the things, but
All of
he
us
loved
are.
me. Correct. But he loved me in a way that I accepted everything about him, the broken parts in him, because it was genuine and it was real. And I watched how my mother treated him, and I didn't like it. And I said, I don't think that it was him because I watched him. I was there when he apologized to you, when he made amends. And I'm like, you were with him for 47 years until his last breath. Why wouldn't
Hmm.
you leave if you were unhappy? Like it's something about you that needed to heal. And it was something about you that was not okay. In the midst of it, baby, she started talking and telling. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, it was, and so it that led me to say, and I brought all that to this full circle moment about relationships, that I don't think that people should get in relationship with another human being until they're both fully healed.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think I'm well enough to be in a relationship, and I'm like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. You
But I
need
also
to be fully
but
healed,
I
and you're gonna
also
make a
think
great mate.
I think you're but I also think our parents generation,
Mm-hmm.
it is hard to come to terms with healing or
Mm-hmm.
feeling like there is anything wrong or even admitting something is wrong
Correct.
because of their parents and their parents. So I
Correct.
think we are the generation
Yep.
that broke that thing. And here again, like I said, I think it's beautiful that you and your mother were able to get to that place. A lot of people don't, and who wish they could, but they can't because your
Mm-hmm.
mother did something that I think a lot of women in that generation just cannot or refuse to
Refuse.
do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
before we go, let's
Yeah.
talk about your daughter really quickly. So how do you share relationship, commitment, whatever, with your daughter? Particularly, she sees you as her example as well. What do you tell her about relationship and being single?
So we have very honest conversations. I share with her the time I terminated pregnancy by a bum, and she's like, "I can't believe that you." And I'm like, "Yeah, like I need for you to know because my mother didn't share her truth, and her truth made me feel like I had the the barometer for me was perfection, and I had to be
Yes,
perfect, right, in order to
yes,
measure up because she presented perfect to me, her forever,
yes.
until I started asking questions. I'm like, I did the math, and you had two children before you were married. Like, because Mike was
Uh-huh,
born in May, you didn't get married to June, you know?
uh-huh,
So I started,
uh-huh.
like, playing these things. And I'm like, if you'd have been honest with me, I think a lot of the mistakes that I made, I probably wouldn't have made. So
Yeah.
in retrospect, when I talk to my daughter, I'm like, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Like, because she picks at me all the time about the guys that I may have dated. She's like, "Yeah, that was your boyfriend," and I'm like, "He was not my boyfriend. Let me make sure you clear. He was a part of my broken process, and in my
Yes.
brokenness, I allowed this person to come into my space and to reset my healing because I'm on the journey of healing. And people come into your life when they don't want the healed version of you, and they reset your healing.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much of a risk to do that. Go
Mm-hmm.
heal yourself. And so my encouragement for her right now is to heal her relationship with her father, because
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why he chose not to be active and present in her life, even though he was there. He was around, but he was never in her life. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know if it's me. Maybe he was bitter with me because I definitely did not have. I wasn't in a loving. I wasn't any of them things, right? So I'm like, maybe he wanted to be in a family unit, and I was like, no, sir, like that ain't happening. Like we were never in love. We weren't about to get married before I got pregnant, so we ain't get married to fix this. So I've been very honest with her, but I've also given her the yieldings of, hey, like, just go and ask those questions so you can heal. The more you pursue men, you're going to keep finding the same triggers and traumas
Yeah.
that you already have. And I
Yeah.
want you to be well and be whole. So I've watched her go through these cycles, and she worse than me. Now, I was a man eater, and I used to date and like drag, like I own my like men who hearts I might have broken. I apologize to them, but she is the same. When guys ask me, like Shaq recently asked me on a job, because Shaq is always trying to hook her up with somebody, and Shaq is always giving relationship advice, and that's our big brother, and he is always talking trash,
Why is
and he
he? Hold on, Papa.
correct,
Why
because
would
that's
he
my
be the
brother,
one? But
correct,
hold on.
because
Why
he
would
got he.
he? Let me ask my question though. Let me just ask my question. Again, no, I'm not judging him, but he does not appear to be the appropriate or adequate person to provide any source of advice.
And I would say, me knowing Shaq, that's like I say, that's my brother. His heart is beyond the most genuine gold. He is
Okay.
an amazing human being. His track
I
record
agree.
of relationship is
Yes.
not a reflection of who he is and what his intentions are for people that he loves and cares about.
But I think it is.
I think
I
I
think
would argue with that.
I think two things can exist at the same time.
Yeah.
I can honestly think and believe he has an amazing heart. And I can say this, I don't know him personally. I can say that he has an amazing heart. I absolutely can. And I also can say he may not be the best person when you are talking about relationships based on his actions and or the partnerships that he has decided to be in.
Yeah. And I
That's
guess
what I would say.
if it was a lateral advice that he was giving advice to his peers, it would be different. This is like him giving advice to his child. So sometimes the
Okay.
advice that I give my girlfriend and the advice that I give my daughter, she may not value that. Like, girl, like how you gonna tell me about being married and you ain't never even been close? But I
Hmm.
can talk to my child or talk to a child about her choices. And so he's always like, don't choose men like me. Why do you think athletes or entertainers or these type of guys, they're no good for you? This is the advice that he's giving to her. So that's what I was saying when
Hmm.
I said Shaq is always like, trying to steer her away. He was
Well, at
like,
least he
don't
knows
date
who
men
he
like me.
is. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, he knows
yeah.
who he is. Okay.
And
But
he's
I will
he's
say,
very honest. Yeah.
but I will say this too, and I learned this recently. Much like you, I don't think I was a man eater per se. I think I had my man eater phase. And
I'll
much
take
like
that.
you, and much like you know, I apologize to the people I hurt. Okay, okay, that's what I did that. But but I also realized for me, based on my lack of relationship with my father at all, there is
Mm,
something that happens to a girl who turns into
mm,
a woman to whom your father is the first relationship you will or will not have with men.
wow.
And to
Wow.
know that there is a man who is responsible for you being here,
Hmm.
who, for whatever reason, may say they love you, but all of their actions are indicative of they do
Yes,
not.
yeah.
That does something psychologically to you. So if my father did not love me, how in the hell do I expect man A, B, C, D, or E to love me? And then I had my own revelation in knowing that perhaps my father's way of loving me was not what I would have wanted, and it definitely did a detriment to my inners and outers.
Hmm.
But I had to come to the conclusion that he loved me the best way he knew how, even if that was absent.
Mm,
That's what I had to come to terms with.
yeah.
And had to realize that even though my father couldn't love me, I do believe that there are other men in this world. There are so many other people in the world that I do believe that there are men who are capable of loving me.
Do you feel though then that you project that punishment on men that you've met in life
I
because you
didn't. I
are
didn't. I
like
didn't do.
punishing them for what your dad didn't do?
I don't think I use. I don't think I would say punishment, but or maybe I could. But I used men as tools.
Mm,
They were for fun. They were for a period of time. They were for because again, I'm an anchor reporter, so I'm moving from city to city. So after I have had my time or whatever, then I'm moving on to the next one. And I knew ain't no man finna follow no woman around the world. Women would do it, men will not. So
mm-hmm,
I found it very easy to leave, to cut it off,
mm,
to shut down, to move on, and to leave and not even like I knew you. Like we're done here. Because, but no, did I take my frustrations out on men? Or no, I don't think I did it in that way. But I didn't connect. Like
mm.
nobody got to me here
Got it.
because I didn't have any real example of that. Like your
Mm-hmm,
relationship with your dad, I did not have that. So it was
mm-hmm.
easy for me to detach. You
Yeah,
were
yeah.
you were only I was going to leave you before you left me.
Wow.
That was my concept because my father did not stay. So before I let you hurt me, I'll leave.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get you first. And then once I
Wow.
came to terms with what that was, and when I realized the lie that I was telling myself, no, my father did not show me any form of love to me. No, my father was not in my life at all. To the point where even when my father died, I sang at his funeral, and that was the weirdest thing to sing at a man's funeral, have no feeling
Wow.
whatsoever at
Wow.
all. It was a performance to me, and I did it, and I moved on. Soon after that, the boyfriend who I had in high school, who I know you know, his mom died,
Mm-hmm.
broke me down. And I remember in the
Wow.
two dualities thinking, like, God. So that was something that I needed to work with. So your daughter's relationship, bringing it back to her dad, I understand that she may have to heal whatever that is, but I do understand where that comes from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that is anger for a man who's supposed to love you, your first relationship. And the other part is, I don't care how much you loved her, and I know you did.
Mm-hmm.
There
Mm-hmm.
is something that you are never going to be able to
Ever.
touch
Yeah. Yeah.
because it doesn't come, it can't come from you.
Yeah. And
So,
that is as real as it comes. And so sometimes she does, well, you the man of the house, like her, that's her running joke. That's her way. So we have very fluid conversations, but I try not to like force her in her
yeah,
healing. But what I do
yeah.
know is that she's such an incredible human being that once she heals that part of her, she's going to find that person. And that person is going to
She,
come and he's going to, because she wants to be in relationship. She
mm-hmm,
watched me like, be indifferent about it or, just, and work through myself. Like we grew up together. So in our
mm-hmm,
growing up together, I was able to be honest and be like, you know what? Like I really didn't like this boy, but I didn't like the fact that he left me. I'm used to being in control, and all the things and the
mm-hmm,
ways that I manage the relationships that she's witnessed. Because when men come around, they do become a part of her life and they become
mm-hmm,
attached to her. And so that's the difficult part of dating when you have a child, because
mm-hmm.
it's almost impossible, especially as a single mother, for you to date somebody and your daughter don't know them. Like
Yeah,
my guy friend every guy that I met in my life, I feel like when I met them, she was right there with me. Like I'm like,
absolutely.
yeah, when we met, she was with me. Like, but there are a lot of women who men don't even know they have kids, but that wasn't a relationship with my daughter. And I just want her to heal first, because the healed version of her, if she thinks she's amazing now, is going to be incredible, because she
But
has everything that I've poured into her and
but
all of
she
the
will, but she has
things.
to be,
Yeah.
she has to be ready though. And
Yeah.
here's the other part about healing. And I'll let this be the last thing. I think that healing is amazing. I love healing. I love it. But what people don't tell you about the healing part is that is excruciatingly painful,
Mm-hmm.
because there are, at least I can't speak for you. I'll speak for me. There are parts of your life that you are really going to have to look at with
Mm-hmm.
no rose, just 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 black and white and down and dirty and gritty and ugly and hurtful. And those things that you have to really look at, um, you have to mourn it. You
Mm-hmm.
have to mourn what you wanted. You have to mourn what you thought it was. You have to
Mm-hmm.
mourn the fact that your father, he would never be what you wanted. You have to mourn that your upbringing or whatever it was will never be what
Mm-hmm.
you envisioned it to be, and come to terms with what it is and learn to lay that to rest. And even
Mm-hmm.
if she does have a relationship with her father, or she comes to whatever it is, saying goodbye to what you wish
Mm.
is can kill. And
Wow.
in some ways it does kill, because it kills what you
Yeah.
thought,
Yeah.
and you only see what it really is,
Yeah.
and moving forward with
But how
that.
do you feel the other side of healing after going through that really
Now here's the
almost
thing:
like a
after I go through,
self death?
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah.
because the truth is what it is. It
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. I had a father who was not in my life, who did not love me in the way that I wish that he would have. But and however, there were men who were the totality of what I wish my dad could have been. I
Mm-hmm.
had little pockets of them,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I never had the fullness of it. But even having the pockets is better than having nothing.
Yeah.
And
So
rather
true.
than leaning on what I wish I would have had from this man who I called my father, who shares my blood, I had it, God gave it to me. I just
Mm-hmm.
have to change the way I look at how it was given to me, and find comfort in that,
Yeah.
because there are some women who don't even get that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So be grateful And I have to also understand, and she will too, that this was the path that was charted out for me long before
Yeah.
you and my mom got together.
Right.
God already knew I was coming through Lisa and this
Mm-hmm.
man who is my
Mm-hmm.
father.
Mm-hmm.
And this was going to be my lot in life. This was going to be my burden that God was going to make me my whole life get over, come to
Mm-hmm.
terms with.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is what I think. Yes, the other side of healing is beautiful. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But let's be clear in saying before you get there,
It's
there's
gonna be,
going to be this valley.
yeah. And I think that may be her fear. I think that she's afraid of the pain because
Yeah.
she'll experience things like her lease was up on her Mercedes Benz and she's turning it in. Well, she about to go and buy a Tesla. She's getting ready to go get a Tesla. She had an emotional breakdown. I'm like, friend, you have detachment issues because the
Mhm.
things that you love, you want to keep them forever and you want them to
Yes.
serve you. And some things you
Yes.
just got to let go of. I end up writing a $20,000 check and buying the car out the lease so that
Yes.
she didn't have to turn the car in. So now I got a Mercedes that's sitting out here in my driveway and she
Yes.
driving a Tesla. And I'm over here like, ma'am. But
Yes.
I get it. And I'm like, I can't save you from these things. I just keep encouraging her, nurturing her, and nudging her into this beautiful healing. I'm like, baby, you're going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I'm here to tell you. Life gets greater later, but you got to make it through that. You got to make it to the next phase of your life in order for you to see the greatness that lies on the other side for you.
Yes.
And don't self-sabotage yourself. You
Yes.
know, don't turn into that girl that's, with a whole bunch of men, because a lot of girls ain't gonna survive. You
Yeah.
know, that ain't gonna survive what we did. Like some of the things that I did, if
Mhm.
she did, she wouldn't survive those things. I'm like,
Mhm.
baby, my little being promiscuous and being whatever, everybody ain't gonna, you may not survive that. This day and age, things ain't, we don't get
Right.
dealt the same hand and be able to win the same pot
Yeah.
that we did. So, just the beautiful side to me is the healed version. I feel
Yeah.
like the healed version of everybody I know. And sometimes you offend people when you show up healed.
Oh God. Well, the thing is, you don't fit the other people anymore because your
Correct.
unhealed version
Yes.
fit more than the
Yeah,
healed one. The healed
for
person, you're
sure.
somebody completely different.
Correct.
You're somebody completely different.
Yeah.
I'll say this too about what I learned about men. The first boyfriend that I had early on, I didn't realize him until way late after doing some work that he represented fatherhood for me.
Wow.
So the love that I had for him, part of it was love, but part of it was because he was the first representation of fatherhood for me.
Wow.
And I put a heavy, he didn't even know it. I didn't even know that he was required to be something far more than
Wow.
he should have been. And when
Absolutely.
that relationship ended, like that, the girl that you knew in high school, she died
Mm-hmm.
when that relationship ended because I saw him as the sun, moon, and the stars based
Wow.
on not having this thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then once that relationship ended, and it was like, it was like being tossed out of Eden, baby. The veil was off.
Wow.
And then I
Wow.
then I became more aware of what I looked like, my beauty, the fact that men
Mm.
were attracted to me, the fact that I
Mm.
could just spin them around and then tack on cheerleading and tack on being an AKA and baby, you couldn't tell me nothing. Okay.
I love it.
Hey.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, I loved that part of my life because I
Mm-hmm.
did feel powerful.
For
I
sure.
did
For sure.
toss men,
Yeah.
but then I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Same.
who?
Same. Like I don't like her either. Yeah.
I don't like what
Yeah.
I liked her, and like even now talking about her, I feel this thing
Yeah.
to where I'm like, okay, Jaquetta, but I also realized that was, I wasn't holding power like I thought I was. I
But that
wasn't.
was that Pac-Man. And when you bit that
Yes,
and you went back and
yes,
baby, it was like it was the roles reversed.
yes,
And at the end of the either the game continues to go on or eventually the game is over. And when the
yeah,
game is over, you push reset and you do it again. But this time when you do it with a little more strategy. You do it with a
yeah,
little more knowing. You never reset the game or never restart or start a new game. You put a new quarter in, you start a new game, and the new game is based on the experience that you had in the last game. You never
Yeah.
start from scratch. So you know
Yeah.
it's just a game of life. We still miss Pac-Man and I'm still winning. And the winning now is not, the scoreboard is still there,
Yeah.
The scoreboard is still there and we're still just trying to be better at the game of life. You're never going to master it. I don't
No.
I don't know that they have anywhere that they have the master of Miss Pac-Man for life for forever,
Hmm.
listed someplace. It's just that's the game of life and we keep winning. And then the people that come along after you, you teach them a little bit of the game. Hey, this is how you play. This is
Yeah.
what you do. This is my
And
strategy.
and the
And you
other
hope
thing
that
I will
they're
say
going to be
this,
great.
and I'm still working on it. I've come to terms with the fact that I realize the other part of me is I don't, every time I say it, I have to say it out loud because it makes me work on it. I don't respect men, if I'm being
Mm,
honest. I
interesting.
have a very low respect level.
Wow.
And it would be higher if they did not prove me wrong.
Yeah, for
If they
sure.
proved me wrong, I believe I could bring it up. But I'm like, time and time again, I see
Mm.
that.
And that's true. Maybe that's why I feel like my person would be somebody that's non-black because my experience is in the black pool. And the
Is shitty.
exactly. And I
It's a
really do. Let me tell you
tadpole.
something that's my new revelation. I lead everything that I do now is with grace. And the grace is
Hmm,
for you, but it ain't for me. I'm not giving
hmm,
you grace for me to benefit from it. I'm giving you grace for you to go and be great. Go and be
hmm.
better. Go and be great. Go and do well. You know, I met a guy the other day on set and I talk to men all the time. Like I'm good company. Very good
Yeah,
company. Yeah.
yeah. You're
Right.
very
So like,
friendly. Uh huh.
yeah, I'm gonna go to the bar. I'm gonna meet a
Gregarious.
friend. Like
Yes,
it's gonna always
yes.
be something, right? And I'm talking to this guy. So this shoot was for 3 days, and I'm talking to him, and he's day two, I think, or maybe day three. He finally let his guard down, and I wasn't there to like challenge him. He was, security or whatever. And so he said to me, he was like, "You're cheeky." And I was like, "What does that mean?" And he was like, "In Europe, they
Uh
use this word cheeky because
huh.
it means you're flirty and you're flirtatious."
Uh
I
huh.
said, "I think you've misperceived my
Mm-hmm.
conversations with you. I have very uplifting, upbuilding, nurturing, supportive. I'm propping you up. I'm applauding you. I'm giving you, sir. That does not mean that I'm interested in you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where did
But
you
men,
get confused?
but here's the thing: men don't know how to.
Correct.
They don't
Receive.
know how to see what it is. They don't
Correct.
know how to perceive a person as just being kind. They're
Being
being
kind.
gracious. They're being gregarious. They're just being
Correct.
friendly, particularly as a woman who is attractive. I learned that early on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
my friendliness comes to a point.
Yeah.
Like I will be the thing, but I will be the thing
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because I get it.
Yeah.
I know why he sees you
I was
as
almost
cheeky.
offended
Don't be. Don't
until I
be.
asked my girlfriend, and she was like, "Girl, he just don't know. Like you're just friendly. Like that's just who you
But
are."
most
I
men
was like,
don't. Most men think that if a woman is
"Is
spending
being
any
friendly."
time being friend, even if a woman gives a man a compliment, he
Correct.
perceives that as something else. And
Correct.
it doesn't have to mean it.
At
But I
all.
also realize this too. Men don't get a lot of women who are just kind.
And I think that
They
is
see it as
problematic in our
something.
culture. Yeah.
Yeah,
In
it
our
is.
culture, I feel like it's problematic because I see men and I'm like, "You look amazing." Like I like that. Like I say this to everybody because I'm like, it's not enough of that in the world that you can genuinely
No,
say. Because if it's something that's off, I'm also gonna say your tie's crooked. You don't need to. Like I remember we were just on set in Jalen Rose, and I'm like, "Are you gonna wear the tie? You're not gonna wear the tie." And he was like, "I'm not gonna wear the tie." I was like, "Well, unbutton that shirt, unbutton that top collar." He was like, "Okay." Like, and I'm like, because you don't have people that are genuinely
no,
saying whatever it is
you
that to be
don't.
true. I'm not here to stroke
We
you because I don't need anything from you. Yeah.
but here's the thing, and that's the thing. We are an anomaly.
An
The longer I
anomaly.
live, the more I realize like
Yeah,
you are set apart.
that's
I
for
am
sure.
set apart. And your daughter set apart. And once I realized that being set apart definitely has its benefits, don't get me wrong, but it is a cross that you bear when you
Mm-hmm.
are set apart.
For
And
sure.
so,
Yeah. I'm
um,
gonna say one last thing, and this is
sure,
gonna shake the world for you, and then I'm gonna let you go. I
sure.
was telling somebody the other day, I was on set. My life is on set clearly. And I was talking to a group of girls. My daughter was not there. And it was an adult woman that's my age, one that's a little younger, and then the other girl's daughter. And they were talking about men. And this man, like, men don't like women with weave and the eyelashes and the things, right? So I was listening to, we were having a group conversation. And I said, let me explain something to you about men. I said, because I'm a
Hmm.
barber and I've been touching men, I've been a soul person for a very long time. I said, men, when you meet them, because she was like, well, that's how he met me. I said, that sounds real cute in this conversation amongst women. I said, well, let me explain something to you. When men meet women, they meet you with their sexual organs. That's just how they're wired. Every man from 8 to 80 will tell you the same thing, that his penis is the first introduction. When he sees you, that's what he sees you with, right? I said, so yes, so they're attracted sexually to women with the long hair, bust down, 32-inch lash extensions, makeup, beat face, and all of the things. I said, but when a man wants you to be his wife, he doesn't want that, because he doesn't want his wife out here attracting men who are looking with their penis. It's
Hmm.
a very simple algorithm. You just want to keep deflecting because you like that look that you have. I guess maybe you feel everybody likes a mask when they have the beat face and they're in their best, right? But if you can't love yourself at your most
Hmm.
unpolished, then you can't even sell that. You can't
Hmm.
sell yourself to a man. So y'all go out and you put these faces on and you do all these things. You go to your house nasty, your face look terrible when you take the makeup off, and you like, well, he didn't,
Hmm.
he I said, because men, they're attracted to that, but what they want for a lifetime is the girl that don't that's none of those things. I said, and it sounds crazy and insane
Or
that
they
men
want
have
it for
zero. They don't even
they.
want that when they're married and they taking their wife out on a date. I'm here to
But
tell
here's the
you,
thing. But here's the thing. I agree in some part to that, but I also think too. I find that I don't care, even if you come looking like a school mom, schoolgirl, there's going to, other men are going to be attracted to your woman. Hard stop.
for sure.
Second part, I also
When
think
she's
that
solid, yeah,
there's a certain view that men do have of women that they want, absolutely. But I also think that that same woman that they met with the lashes and they are still attracted to it. And I found that men will skirt right on over to it
but they're
to be
attracted
with it.
from their sex organs to that.
They are, they
They're not
are.
attracted from their hearts. Their hearts
They're
are
not.
not attracted to those things. And so you got to figure out which one of them you want from a man. You got to figure out whether you want his heart or you want to be sexually attracted to him. And sometimes you
Well,
need
the
to
sad
learn how
part
to
is
play both.
I was
You
gonna
need to
say
be able to play both. So
that's
I
what I
ain't
was gonna
saying
say.
go
The
home and
sad
dumb
part
yourself
is,
down and don't ever
no.
go give him that girl that he was sexually attracted to. But understanding that as a woman gives you power. Like I
Hmm.
know how to put the power on and take it off, baby. I know how they like both. I go out looking like a whole, you'll go out looking
Hmm.
like a whole bum. And
Uh-huh.
men are like, that's the woman I
Flocking,
want to marry. That's the woman I
flocking.
want to marry. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And you can go
Uh-huh.
out beat to the gods and they looking at you from a distance and just letting they little thing bounce. And they, probably
But
will
that,
never
but
say
he,
anything to you. Yeah.
and back to the back to the original. That's why I don't have the respect that I wish I had for men.
Yeah.
That whole
Yeah.
conversation we just had
Yeah.
is why.
That's what I
Because
told
I
you.
also think being an amazing person, forget man or
Mm-hmm.
woman, I believe that there is a certain level of discipline
For sure.
that I have learned to have.
Mm-hmm.
And discipline is hard
Yeah.
because
But
discipline
discipline is power.
is power because I'm not ruled by what I visually see and want. I can
Mm-hmm.
see it, I can think it's amazing, but it does not rule me.
Correct. Correct.
So, anyway, this is a great talk, Lisa.
This has been amazing. Very necessary.
Girl,
Very
very
necessary.
necessary.
Yeah.
And I hope that
Yeah.
people who are watching it
Yeah.
will glean and
Yeah.
gain a lot from it because we talked about a lot. And
Yeah.
Lisa, girl, we this can't be our first time. We get to come back, baby,
Yes, girl.
and have
Anytime.
conversations. Okay.
Anytime. Anytime for
All right.
sure.
Until next time, y'all. We're gonna see y'all later.
I
Bye.
love ya.
Okay.